Hello and welcome to Optimum TV. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Professor Bert Meijer, Professor of Molecular Sciences at Eindhoven University of Technology and Professor at the Royal Netherlands Academy of Arts and Sciences. Professor Meijer is one of the founders of the field of supramolecular polymer chemistry and was recently elected to the prestigious American Philosophical Society. He's also an advisor to Xeltis, the specialist in transformative vascular implants. Welcome, Professor Meijer.
Welcome. Thank you.
So it's a fascinating field that you're working in. And could you just briefly explain to our listeners what supramolecular polymers are and why they're so important?
Supramolecular polymers are actually similar to regular plastics, but instead of having very strong bonds between the monomeric units, they are now much more weaker and dynamic, reversible ones, a little bit like a glue that you can easily pull out together, but then also remove. That makes it much more dynamic and much more similar to the structures that you have in nature. And that's exciting because now you can tune actually the properties independently from mechanical to reversibility. And that gives a lot of possibilities to use, especially in medicine, because you can also make these polymers biodegradable and actually biocompatible, while at the same time you can tune the mechanical properties. And that's a unique feature of the supramolecular polymers, because you don't have to break strong bonds, but you just have to remove the weak bonds and making weakened, and the molecules actually disappear and dissolve.
Great. And what were the origins of your discovery, and how did you discover them?
Yeah, actually, for that, I like to back a little bit in history, because actually to the 1800s, when Berzelius coined the word polymer. And polymer is from polymeros, the Greek words for many parts. And for long, people thought that all of the materials that you see in nature, where trees are made from, but also human beings, was small particles brought together by weak interactions. And it was until 1920 when Hermann Staudinger in Germany coined the word macromolecules, meaning these polymers were actually not small molecules brought together by weak bonds, but very long polymeric chains with covalent strong bonds. It took him 6 years to make sure that everyone believed him. But now we all know all of the plastics around you are made out of these macromolecules. Actually, a nice coin from Staudinger was that he said at a time that everyone was against, he said, later biochemists will see that DNA and proteins are also macromolecules. And so around 1990, I thought I got inspired by that idea that maybe due to the progress in supramolecular chemistry, with beautiful work from Jean-Marie Lane, the Nobel laureate from Strasbourg, we thought maybe we can go back to that original idea of Berzelius. And then we started to work on this. And in 1997, we were the first, having made a unit that was so strong and weak at the same time that we could make plastics out of this of very small molecules. And that was, I think, a breakthrough. And it also cost us several years before they really appreciated that there were plastics. And the beauty of this is that we can indeed have plastics at low temperature, but if you heat them, they become very dynamic and they become small molecules. So for recycling, they're great to be used of.
Fantastic, Bert. That's an incredible journey. And what do you see as the applications for these in medicine?
Now, taking into account that society is fed up with plastics. I don't know how it's in your country, but here everyone wants to get rid of plastics due to the fact that they're everywhere. And it is that they're so difficult to remove. And I think one of the biggest applications will be in order to go to plastics that are easy to recycle. And very recently, actually, we came together with my friend Takusa Ida from Tokyo University with a new concept on this, in which we make extremely strong supramolecular three-dimensional plastics that have properties that I've never seen before. But as soon as they come in salty water, they fall apart. And that means if this plastic comes in the ocean, you don't see it anymore, and the plastic waste is gone. So again, strong polymer materials and easy to recycle, because if you add just salty water. There it goes. So I think that's the most promising one, and that's huge. But the other one is obviously in medicine, where you can use them, especially in regenerative medicine.
And can you explain a little bit more about how you see their role in regenerative medicine?
Yeah. So many of the molecules that are now used in medicine, let's say for teeth or for whatever unit you bring into your body, that is a plastic that should stay there for long. But for regenerative medicine, what we need is a material that stays there as long as the original tissue hasn't taken it over. And that with supramolecular polymers, you can bring them in. They adapt to being more almost natural. Then the cells take over, they make their own tissue. And in the time they make the tissue, your supramolecular polymer disappears. And since it's so easy to disappear, and it's so close to a biological relevant material, it can really change the world from bringing plastic in, it stays there, to a plastic that is removed by its own body into molecules that are not toxic at all. While if you use it for applications that have a plastic there forever, at a certain time that plastic will degrade. And that can be tough materials that you don't like to have in your body. You have to repair, do a resurgence again. So I think it would be great. And I think Xeltis makes a beautiful example of this for blood vessels that work well. But colleagues of mine here in Eindhoven are also using it for organoid growth or heart valves that you can make in this. And that whole field of regenerative medicine is really a field upcoming. And I think it needs supramolecular materials in order to do this work.
That's fascinating and very, very encouraging. And what, just to finish, what do you think it is that these materials, supramolecular polymers, can do that's better than existing materials?
Yeah, it is that the existing materials are very difficult to degrade. So they stay in for long. And if you want to remove them, you can't remove them. If you want to keep them in there, they're always there, but you have to make them stable. And suppose you use fluorinated polymers, for instance, that would be something you didn't like to have in your body, especially if it starts to degrade. So we will see. But for sure, for regenerative medicine, they're great. For using them for drug delivery, they're great. But obviously, if you want to do that for your teeth, then you want to have something in that stays there for I don't know how long, and then it should degrade. So it depends on the application, what it's good for and what it's not good for.
Amazing. Well, Professor Meijer, that's been an absolute fascinating view into the future of medicine, I'm sure, and we're really excited to hear all about it. So thank you very much for joining us.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Are you watching Optimum TV? In our bite-sized episodes, we talk to European life science leaders about the hottest trends, innovations and capital market developments in the sector. To subscribe, visit @OptimumComms on YouTube. You can also watch all available episodes on our website, optimumcomms.com.